Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I want to showcase a deck made by Panda Gwent, who is regularly a top 10 ranked player. He's actually the best Xbox player on the ranked leaderboard. And this is a hybrid deck. This is a consume weather hybrid deck that he created. I'll have a link to the Gwent DB down below. And this is a Dagon deck, which I have affectionately named Pandagon, because it's Panda's Dagon, you know, I'm hilarious. But this is the deck here, and I've been playing it in ranked, and it's actually a lot of fun. It's a really interesting deck to play. And look at all this row. This is disgusting. Sometimes I hate that it puts everything in the melee row when you don't know what you've got. But the gist of this deck is that it's like a weather consume hybrid deck. So you've got some weather elements, but you've also got a lot of the standard consume elements like Varan Warrior and NECA. And I actually think of all the monsters decks I've played, this one takes a little bit of practice to navigate in terms of what it is exactly you want to do. I'm going to move some of these cards down here so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. But effectively, what you want to do here is you want to find your Varan Warriors. You're going to eat a lot of things with your Varan Warriors, and in doing that, buff them. And that is also going to buff your Neckers, which is going to give you points carryover. You've also got power plays with weather in order to damage your opponent. And that's kind of just at the deck. So it's kind of complicated to explain, but we have Dagon, and Dagon we can use to spawn Fog. And by spawning Fog, what we'll do is we'll filter these 3 Foglets out of our deck. So that'll give us a power play with Dagon, turning him into a 12-point swing rather than a 6-point swing. It'll give us actually weather as well, so the Fog will be at least 2 points. That's actually 14 points from Dagon. And we'll pull our Foglets out of our deck, which gives us more draw consistency. On top of that, we have our 3 Foglets, which then give us a target for the Varan Warriors to start eating, because if you eat up the Foglets, the Varan Warrior will consume it, and that will buff your Neckers by +1. So there's a consume synergy. On top of that, what we can do is we can play our Solano Harpy, which will spawn 2 Harpy eggs. When consumed by another unit, this boosts it by 5. So it's a 1 strength egg, but if it gets eaten by the Varan Warrior, that Varan Warrior gains 5 points rather than 1. And when that happens, it also then spawns a 3 strength Harpy. So lots of synergy there with consume, which will also then start buffing our Neckers. Neckers, whenever an ally consumes a card, it gets boosted by 1. On top of that, then we have, for more consuming, we have Giant Toad. Giant Toad, deploy consume a card in your hand, then draw the top card from your deck. So this is nice for card draw, and this synergizes really nicely with Giels, because Giels, you draw the top gold card and the top silver card from your deck, you play one, and you return the other to the top of your deck. So you could play Giels, draw a gold or silver, pick one, and then use Giant Toad synergy to draw then whichever one you've placed at the top of your deck. And Giant Toad is really good with Olgierd, for example. Olgierd, when this unit is discarded or destroyed, weaken it by half. At the start of routes 2 and 3, resurrect it. So you can basically eat Olgierd with the Giant Toad, putting him into your graveyard, and then on the next round he'll come back. So there's a synergy there with the Giant Toad. On top of that, we have the Frightener. Deploy, move a unit on another row on this side to this row. So basically you play him on a row and pull a unit to his row. I feel like that's worded so weirdly, but that's how that works. And then you draw the top card from your deck. And if you happen to be in a situation where you don't want to play Frightener because it's going to give your opponent too many points, you can always eat him. That's always an option there. If you end up in a kind of a sticky situation with that, you can eat him. So that's nice. On top of that, we have Katakan. Deploy consume a unit from either graveyard. So this is really nice against Queen's Guard. You can eat a Queen's Guard and stop them from being able to resurrect it. There's also often kind of big point values in the graveyard, and it's a consume effect, so it'll buff your Neckers, as will Giant Toad. That's also a consume effect. We have a Fiend in here. Toggle a unit's lock. If it's an enemy, damage it by half. Its power locks are always useful. Being able to do half damage to a big unit also always useful, so Fiend is really good. And we have 1 Water Hag, which gives you Torrential Rain, Clear Skies for anti-weather, and Lacerate. And the big thing here is the Lacerate. So we have a choice of a Lacerate with a 3 strength body attached, which we can also use to deploy weather or to remove weather. So really nice. We have an extra Lacerate in here because of how strong Lacerate is with the current meta. Lots of small units, as you can see for this deck, for example, that Lacerate can be very strong. We have 2 Archgriffins just for clearing weather. So this is our 2 anti-weathers. And these also can become, again, targets for Giant Toad to eat if you go into a matchup that you don't expect weather from. So again, another target for Giant Toad to eat and draw you a card. What else have I got to talk about? Okay, I guess it's just gold cards now. So we have Giels, like I mentioned, and he's really nice because he can help you find these gold cards, which are really useful, and the silver cards. So I think that his ability to find gold and silver cards in this deck is really useful because a lot of these cards can be quite effective against your opponent. So in this situation, I think Giels is really nice. On top of that, we have Igni. And Igni, because of Frightener putting units onto a row, you have synergies there. You destroy all the highest units on the opposite row if that row totals 20 or more power. Alternatively, we also have Corinthia. move 3 units or 3 enemies to this unit's row. So we can move 3 units to the same row as him and apply Frost. And then that also gives us targets for Igni because we're stacking a row with units. And then finally, we have Woodland Spirit, which is a big power play because we get 3 Rabid Wolves, which are 3 strength. And we also get our 6 strength of Foglets. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 5 from his base strength is 14, plus 2 if the fog hits something. So potentially 14 to 16 easy points, if not more, depending on how the fog goes. The problem, obviously, if they remove your fog, then, you know, they remove your fog, then they remove some of your points. But still, it's a nice play. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to jump into a game and showcase this deck in action. If you enjoy this deck, do hit that thumbs up button and go check it out on Gwent DB and maybe rate Panda's deck there as well. Okay, so we got the Dagon Mirror here, and basically with the Dagon Mirror, you want them to play their fog first, because if they play their fog and then you manage to clear it, we don't actually have any weather clear at the moment, but if you manage to clear it and then you play your fog, you keep your foglets, but they don't keep theirs. So that's the kind of idea here. In terms of our mulligan, we obviously mulligan the foglets that we have, and often I mulligan the neckers as well, because you only want one necker, and sometimes I'll mulligan them just because I'm likely to find them again by round 2, which is when I really need them. There's a lot of Ran Warriors. I think we can probably afford to mulligan one of these to try and find some anti-weather. And this foglet can go too. We got more fog. So no weather clear, unfortunately. We also don't have anything to eat all geared, which is not the end of the world, but it can be a little bit frustrating. So in terms of the first round, like I said, you want to play ideally your Dagon in this round, because what that will allow you to do is it will allow you to it will allow you to get your foglets out your deck, which means your drawing is much more consistently. More consistent. Also, this thing here is Gwent Tracker. There'll be a link to it down below. This is something you can download for PC. It doesn't work on Xbox or PlayStation, but this works on PC. And what it basically lets you do is it lets you track what cards are left in your deck and what cards your opponent has played here. You can make it track other things as well, but this is what I'm currently tracking. It also shows your MMR and your position here. So I'm on 3825. My opponent's on 3753. So there's some frost. Unfortunately, like I say, we don't have any weather clear here, so we're going to have to be a little bit kind of careful in how we play this. But we do want to start consuming things, I think. As it is, we can probably go for the fog. I think I want to put the fog in the front row. I would put it in the middle row, but then I'm just going to be putting my foglets in fog, which doesn't really help us. And we can always lacerate this row. So I think for the time being, what we'll do is we'll put some fog in the front row, and that'll give us some units to eat. I'm popping Dagon in the back row because I don't want to stack the rows too highly. I probably could have put him in the middle row there because that row is likely to, you know, die anyway. So we'll fog up his front row, like so, and that pulls our foglets, which is nice. Like I say, unfortunately for us in this matchup, we didn't get any weather clear, we didn't get water hag, and we didn't get any really, you know, card draw either. Usually, you know, you'll find Giels or Frightener or Water Hag or 2 of the Archgriffins. Like, we kind of got a bit unfortunate in our draw. There is enough in there to help you try and find the cards that you need. It just sometimes doesn't happen. Anyway, we'll wait for our opponent to make a turn. So yeah, this is Gwent Tracker, and like I said, it's something you can use on PC. I don't typically use it in my videos because for, you know, Xbox or PlayStation players, they don't have this luxury, so I kind of want to show them my thought process when I don't have, you know, perfect information. But as things currently stand, you know, it is something that we're going to have to do. We'll put our Vran Warrior out here, and we'll start eating things, which isn't too bad. We can actually Corinthier the Harpy eggs. To be honest, we could have done that and frosted them. That is also an option, but ideally we want to wait till he has more units so we can stack the row, because then we can get a lacerate out and that'll be quite nice. Alternatively, we let him stack the row. That's also an option. Marching orders, he pulled a foglet. Why would you marching orders a foglet?
No! How?
Did he want to find... What did he want to find there? I have no idea what that play was. The other thing we can do is we can pop our harpies out and start eating them. So what I think I'm going to do for now, because I do want to get the eat effects, is we'll pop our other Vran Warrior on the back row, and then we can put the rest of our harpies in behind him, basically. These eggs and harpies, so that he gets buffed. Here comes more weather, unfortunately. Well, he's pulled his last 2 foglets. The thing is, because weather hits the biggest unit, this isn't really the end of the world for us. It's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. What we could do is we could... I always say it's not the end of the world. I've actually got a Twitch emote now that is not the end of the world, because I say that so often. But what we will do is we'll pop our Harpy in there. This is going to be hitting the Vran Warrior, so he can eat these and get points, and it should negate the effects of the weather. And then we'll go for Corinthier. Oh, he does not like me. Not a happy bunny. And we're still getting eat effects right now, which is good. because obviously that's kind of what we're going for here. But let's go for the row stacking. We could move both of the foglets into fog and start dealing damage on the middle row. This is kind of a good power play, I think. So let's do that. So we'll move you, and you can come down here to the party, where everyone's going to die. It's not that fun of a party. And then we've stacked the row, which means, you know, we could get value out of our last rate, but actually we're going to kill the foglet, so it would still be a 9 last rate. We could lock an egg. That is an option that we have. Basically, we want to win this round, and then see what happens in the next round. As is, we're also draining cards out of him. What can you even Corinthia here? I guess you could take a harpy and get some little baby harpies that you put in the back row. So we could lacerate and pop those eggs, and then if they land in the middle row, that would be nice. The question is, would we rather pop the eggs, or would we rather deal more damage? I think we'd probably rather pop the eggs. So let's do that. And hopefully, I was going to say hopefully they land in the weather. We got one in the weather, which is nice. So now we're getting value out of our fog again. We're on the same number of cards and we're 3 points ahead. And because he lost the coin toss, I say losing the coin toss. Basically, if you have to go first, I think that's a disadvantage because it's harder for you to maintain card advantage, which is very important in Gwent. But because he lost the coin toss, we're basically playing reactively. He just Becca's Twisted Mirror my foglet. Rude as heck, mate. Rude as heck. We can do 6 damage to that with Fiend. But I feel like with Fiend, we're maybe better off hitting the egg. Just making sure there's nothing huge in the graveyard that we want to eat with Katakan. Nah, they're all like 2s and stuff, which isn't really that good. He is, however... Let me see how many points ahead of us he is. He is 21 points ahead of us. So we're going to do 4 damage from weather, but he's going to do 2. So we're getting 2 damage from weather. So we're on 23. This is 5. 23 plus 5 is... I think we go for this. 5 and 6. I think it's 5 and 6. 11. I think we go for this. 26 versus 32. See, he can't easily pass here because we're not too far behind, and we're gaining 2 points every turn. So we would be effectively on 28. Okay, I think we probably want to pass now. This gives us a good target to eat, which is nice. But yeah, I think we just let him have it. The problem here is he's carrying over 6, which means what he'll probably do here to negate card advantage is just straight pass into the next round. Because he's going to carry over these eggs. Which is a little bit unfortunate for us, but not the end of the world. Jesus Christ. It doesn't mean that we've necessarily lost. Okay, Vran Warrior and Gigni. I mean, Gigni is okay, but like, theoretically, what is he going to be playing? Olgierd, I guess, is carryover, so that's nice. Vran Warrior, we can eat something, but Katakan can eat something anyway. I think we mulligan this. Water Hag. That's not terrible. Yeah, there's the straight pass. And this is fine, because all we just do here is we play Olgierd.
Death holds no surprises.
And then we pass, because that carries over for us, which is pretty good. So we're not in too bad of a spot here. And then we draw another card. And unfortunately, not seeing our Neckers. It would be nice if we had the Vran Warrior and a Necker. I would have gone for that.
No surprise.
There's a Necker. So we can play him and start to play them out. But we don't have anything that's going to eat the Neckers. Water Hag is nice for damage. I'm just wondering what we keep here. Do we keep Igni? Part of me feels like there won't be a target for it, but as soon as I say that there won't be a target for it, there is. But if we can find the Vran Warrior, that would be quite big. And if we find Gales, we can pull Igni anyway. We got a second Necker. That's awkward. Not the end of the world, but awkward. Oh, I say it again! Jesus Christ, it's like my favorite thing to say. Right, let's play Katakan. There's the 7 in the graveyard. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest unit in there, so we'll just eat him. And that'll buff our Neckers some more. I mean, I think the 11 from a Necker is probably worth more than the 4 from an Igni. He played his Clear Skies, so this isn't too bad. Into a Rally. So we could lacerate, but I think what we do here is just we play one Necker and see what he does. The Katakan actually protects the Neckers from the Igni, which is pretty good, and we don't intend to eat anything else. The alternative is we go for the Fog here, and we start popping his eggs. I mean, he's probably going to play his own Woodland Spirit. Yeah, I think we just go for the Fog here. It means he can't eat the eggs, which is kind of the plan here. Oh, see, if he had a third 5, then the Igni would have been nice. We can lacerate, but I think what we'll do for now is we'll play some Neckers. I'm just going to play these far away from my big point units in case he has Dimmeritium Bomb. I wouldn't expect him to be running Dimmeritium Bomb, but, you know, you're better to be kind of aware. This definitely didn't go, you know, perfectly to plan in terms of this matchup. We didn't get out Archgriffins at all, for example, and we've only just seen some weather clear. So there's the fog. We did expect that play. That's a huge lacerate. I'm wondering if we wait on the lacerate and play the Necker. This Necker is going to get hit by the fog. But it's not going to get hit by the fog till after my turn, which means if he does have Igni, he can get 22 points. I think we just go for the lacerate for now. Basically, we want the Necker to get smaller before we play the second one, so that if he does choose to play an Igni, that it's not as big of a power play. As is, though, we're on 42 points and he's on 10. So, you know, we're not in too bad of a spot. He's got 1 gold card left to play, which he'll probably play here. Don't know what it'll be, though. I was going to say I would expect Caranthea, but then he has to move units out of the fog, although they're unlikely to all be hit by the fog anyway.
There is no escape.
See, this is where the clear skies would have been nice. 21 to 38, but we have 11 points in our Necker. So we'll see. 49 to 22. I don't think he's got it. He's got 1 card. Yeah, there's the pass. So we win. We'll send our GG. And this is where, like, you can see Gwent Tracker comes in handy. We can see what's in our deck, which I like for, like, things like Gales, for example. Then you kind of know what it is you're pulling into. A bit easier than if you just have to kind of remember everything. Though, the more familiar you are with the deck, obviously, the easier that is. We'll send our GG. And anyway, even though, you know, I didn't get exactly what I wanted for that matchup, you can see that we still managed to win. I'm going to jump into another game now, and I'll showcase this deck in action once more for you guys.
There will be no negotiation.
Hey, so I managed to find a matchup that isn't monsters, which is really nice. Ethne is probably dwarves. So mulliganing, we don't want foglets. We've got 3 Van Warriors, which is nice. We probably don't need Archgriffin, because typically they don't play weather. And Necker we can probably find later on. Oh, I've got hiccups. This would help if this would go away. We have Gales and we have Carinthia. Gales will give us Waterhag or Giant Toad and Igni or Woodland Spirit. We go first. Okay, so we'll open with some Harpies, which is not too bad. I'm guessing this is dwarves. Oh, it's elves. This is possibly control then. Or it's just some kind of elf deck. So there's a control Squirtle deck going around with Ethne where you have elves. I don't think you typically run Hawker support in it, but you basically just remove all of your opponent's cards with like lots of scorching.
Everything all right?
Into a rally. Go on, stack your rows.
Strength, my love.
And then we can get a fog. So yeah, this is chaining out the weather removal, which is interesting because obviously we're playing Dagon. So that's a interesting tactic to say the least. But what we can do here, we can fog the middle row, and then we'll start to have some foglets to eat, which is nice. We'll also thin them from our deck, so then we don't risk drawing them on the next round, and we're all very happy. The problem here is there's not a lot of, you know, edibles, really.
Have strength, my love.
To explain it that way, there's not a lot of targets to eat. I think that's her last special card, because she only had 1, which means her hand is full of special cards. How are we doing? 19 to 10. We can actually probably play Frightener here. And we'll pull someone else into the fog as well. Down you come. Party in the fog. We got Waterhag, which is nice. Rally. Booster unit in your hand. Okay. That's a thing. I don't really have much else I can eat is the problem here. But we are ahead. We can pull Igni or Giant Toad. We can pull Giant Toad, so let's do that. We'll play Gales. Because we got the Waterhag from our Frightener, we can then pull Giant Toad, which means we'll draw Igni on the next turn. Play out the Giant Toad. Eat the Olgierd. Actually, and then we'll draw Igni now that I think about it. And then we get Igni. Which is not bad. We've thinned our deck quite considerably here. Which means we're more likely to find our Neckers. So this is actually, you know, one of the better situations that we can have.
Them dangle a while.
So this isn't a problem because we have more Neckers, so we'll just play another one. And the more units that she plays in Fog, obviously the bigger our lacerate's going to be. When we choose to use it with our Waterhag. Igni's nice because this guy's been boosting units in her hand. Although I think the Brienne was one of the units that they boosted because she's obviously got a boosted score. There's a lacerate. This person has no manners. No manners. Do we Carinthia? We could Carinthia units onto the back row and get Frost on there. I do want to win this hand, even though I've played Frightener. Like, I think this isn't a bad one to try and win. If you play Frightener and win, it's kind of like BM, to be honest. Yeah, let's Corinthia some stuff to the back row. You can come, and you can come. Party on the back row. I mean, she could Ethne, but because she hasn't played Clear Skies, I think she can only... There it is. I was going to say, I think she can only find a thing in it. That is a no-point play, though. Potentially we pass here. If we pass, she goes 2-card disadvantage in order to win. Which I think is a good situation to be in, to be honest. Alternatively, we can scorch all 3/6s. Or burn all 3/6s, and you know what, let's do that.
Let's get this over with.
This just gives us game in hand. Like, that's a 22-point play. You have 6 and I have 39. Are you sure you want to continue playing? Apparently so, Yavin. So that gives her a card. Which I guess puts us on the same number of cards. Yeah, so that's a play. We are done. I guess you could burn both of the 14s, but in burning both of the 14s, you still don't win the game. You'd have to play 2 cards, I think. Yeah, and there's the pass. So I think... Can I eat Yavin now? I can possibly eat Yavin here. What are we going to draw? A Olgierd Griffin and Griffin. We don't need a Griffin, so one of those is going. We could straight pass, and then we have advantage going into the final turn. But alternatively, we could play Harpies and then pass. But then we can eat the Harpies. So I don't know. I think we eat the Harpies on the next turn and we just straight pass here. Yeah, I think we do that. She has to play something. What you got? She hasn't played any gold cards. This is my like main concern here. Is like lack of gold cards is a bit... I'm a bit nervous about that. But we have card advantage, so that's good. What are we going to pull? A Necker would be nice, because we can basically start eating the Neckers and pulling more Neckers out with the Vran Warrior. Yeah, this is a good hand, I think. I mean, we could mulligan the Griffin, but then if we pull a second Necker, that's going to be annoying. Let's take the risk. Oh, there is the second Necker. Rude as heck. Rude as heck. I mean, he's worth the same number of points as the Griffin, we just can't eat chain so well. So our opponent has to go first, which is nice. The problem here is, like, she can play gold cards and I don't have any. I've played all of my gold cards. So that's our kind of only concern. We also didn't see Woodland Spirit this game. Usually you see Woodland Spirit for the final turn power play. Didn't get it this time, which is unfortunate. You can see how, you know, many of our cards we have seen. This is the way she plays Avalanche. That is probably to reveal, but not necessarily. I think we take the risk with the Necker to try and pop it. We can always lock the to reveal with the Fiend, which will stop its... It'll flip it, but it'll stop its effect from triggering. Which would effectively give us, depending on what she puts in the row, quite a few points. That's interesting. So she clearly doesn't want me to be chaining Neckers, which is kind of cute. Because we still have another Necker we can chain. So let's just eat it for now. The problem with eating it like this is obviously if she kills my Vran Warrior, I'm in an awkward spot. Yeah, there we go. So I didn't want to waste it if it was a Sapper, which it could have been. But what she might be doing is buffing Sappers in her hand in order to flip one over, basically. Bronze or silver ambush card from your deck. Do we take the risk? I think we take the risk. We're so gonna get burned. 100%. Like, I feel like Scoia'tael without Scorch is like, what is going on here? That one will be to reveal. Maybe? Oh, I don't know. Hey, there's a Necker. Let's put some eggs in here as well. Sapper. It must be to reveal, right? And she's going for the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 play. You've got 2 cards left. But she's technically got 10 more points than this. Well, if she has Igni, it's got to be that one.
Hold the lines!
There's a Saskia play, so that's tempo.
I respect nothing human.
Go Lacerate, I think, yeah. That's pretty nice. Let me play Katakan here. So I think Yavin should be in here. I don't know. I thought they didn't. I didn't think they disappeared, but maybe they disappear simply because otherwise you'd be able to eat like 14 points, and that's, or resurrect them, and that's not something that they want. So the biggest looks like a 6. 5, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5. Yeah, it's a 6. Okay, we'll go eat a 6. You'll do. And we obviously buffed our Necker. The problem is our Necker's going to get eaten, which I'm a little bit nervous about, because if she has, yeah, I was going to say if she has the burn, that's going to be annoying. Okay, so here's how we deal with to reveal, basically. We lock her. She gets debuffed by him, goes down to a 6, doesn't buff them, and then we have 9 points here, but I don't think it's quite enough, unfortunately. Oh no, wait, we have 3 on top of him. It is enough. I thought it was just the lacerate, and I was like, we only have 9 points. It's a tie! Nobody wins. Oh dear. Well, that was a match. I don't know how I feel about this. It is what it is. It is what it is, you guys. But yeah, that is Panda's deck. If you like the deck, obviously hit the thumbs up button. Go rate it on his Gwent DB or her Gwent DB. I don't know if Panda's a boy or a girl. Are you a kid or a squid? But yeah, so go rate it, and you can always check out their other decks on there as well. Beyond that, if you've enjoyed the content on the channel, you can always subscribe. If you want to check out Gwent Tracker, I'll have a link to that in the description below. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Whoops. Oh, I can scroll wheel through this. Look at this. Whee! This is not totally obnoxious. Okay, I'm good. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you guys next time. -1 rank point. That's rude as heck. Rude as heck. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.